Hello, everybody. This is Justin Case of America Newscape. Honored to be joined by Russ Tafuri during this Teachers Appreciation Work Week, sharing a few perspectives. Hello, Russ. Welcome to American Newscape.
Hey, Justin, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, Russ, you're going to give us a perspective that very few have had been privileged to hear. But first, what's happening in Maryland?
Well, in Maryland, today, much like every other day, we've had a chance of snow with rain, sleet, hail, and tornadoes, and a little bit of sunshine.
But no
Every
hurricanes, so the weather's nice, right?
Well, depends on what you consider nice. Only 15 minutes of that whole day did I consider it nice when the sun was shining, like when I was in Southern California.
Okay. Well, now you're in Maryland. Hey, Russ,
Right.
let's get this started with
Okay.
what you found inspiring in your naval education and opportunities to teach others in the Navy. What have you got for us?
Well, I tell you, the opportunities that I've had in the Navy to instruct and to teach, my fellow sailors, my peers, my subordinates, the junior sailors, as well as my leadership, those whom I report to, has been just amazing because what we oftentimes what we teach and our classrooms, we're not going to learn math, reading, writing, arithmetic kind of thing. It's how to save the ship if it's going down, and how to handle a fire on the flight line or on the flight deck. So it's a little bit different. You're talking about saving lives at that point.
Well, yeah, it's something a lot of us forget. And now, one interesting thing that I know about you, Russ, is you've been eligible for retirement for a lot of years, and they won't let you go, will they?
Either that or I just won't go away. It's one of the two. Not sure which. But honestly, I mean, I haven't stopped enjoying it and feeling that this is what I was meant to do for my life. Um, it's. I always said when it's no longer fun, I'm going to quit. And we're coming up on 27 years, and it's still. I enjoy getting up and going to work every day.
Well, yeah, and I guess I've known you about 10 years, and as long as I've known you,
Yeah,
you've talked about the opportunity of retirement, and you just never seem to be going. You keep getting promoted and doing things like that and taking honor duty, and when I mention honor, what I consider honor duty, you may not, but you were a member of the Blue Angels flight team, correct?
yes, I was. Yeah, I had that honor. That was a dream of mine when I first joined the Navy. That I said, one day I'm going to get on that team.
And
And
that's
finally, the third try, it happened.
and that team consists of how many people, Russ, roughly?
Anywhere between 135 and 145 people in the entire squadron. That includes the pilots and the support, and as well as the mechanics. And then there's guys like me who do all the media stuff for them.
Well, and I was very honored to have a chance to work with different Blue Angel groups who served as celebrity judges for one of our major events. And for the people that have never been around them, or for the people that have never had a chance to converse with them, they are meticulous. They are so polite and courteous you can't imagine. But what what really awed me was they were precise. And when I say that, they were a precision machine. The way they met people, the way they interacted with the crowds, and it was just remarkable and very, very diverse from who I am. And Russ, that's when I met you.
Right.
And for whatever reason, Russ put up with me. But Russ did a remarkable job for them, and he did a remarkable job for our event. And even after Russ had been out of the Blues, he came back and did some
Yeah.
photography work for us just because we asked him to. and it's a testament to you. But in growing up in the Navy, were there any instructors that left an impression on you or that you patterned after?
Um, my gosh, the list is long. Because I remember from the moment I joined the Navy, I immediately after the initial ride through the 18-foot barbed wire fences, I subscribed to the whole organization. Um, but that drive in to boot camp was a little bit off-putting. Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
But you know, but when I mean, from the day you step in boot camp, you're learning things. You're being taken from a civilian, a kid, regular kid, and you're being turned into a sailor. So you're learning a lot of things, and you've got a lot of instructors. I mean, everybody that's not just like you who just joined is an instructor in some way, shape, or form. And there's so many different ways that you are instructed. Some more pleasant than others, but the point gets across, and it's to the learner be in pain, one or the other. Not that they would hit you, but you'd be doing push-ups forever,
No, no.
something like that.
But in the 40s, they would hit you.
Uh, there was a day, yeah, when
Yeah.
that was acceptable. Thank
Um,
goodness I joined after that. But
you know,
so there were instructors from my boot camp. I mean, there is an instructor I remember to this day that was my one of my boot camp classroom instructors. And back at the time, he was a boiler tech, which they don't even have anymore. He was a second class petty officer, and he was so rough around the edges. This guy, like, he was so happy to be in that classroom because doing his regular job, he never sees the sun. He's down in the gunnels of the ship, that kind of thing, with nothing but boilers. But he was. A lot of people didn't like him. I enjoyed the heck out of him because he was like in his job as a boiler tech. He didn't have time to candy coat or sugar coat anything. He just needed to get it and get it now because we got other things to do.
and he was a good communicator, despite being a greasy boiler room
You
boss.
would never think one of those guys would be because they don't have a whole lot of human interaction. But he was. He
Uh,
was.
I don't know if this applies to you, but as I've matured in my life, I remember some of the teachers that I despised the most were indeed the best educators I ever had. And as I became an adult, I was able to appreciate the perspective and what they were trying to teach me. And I'm not saying that I wasn't pig-headed and stubborn, which anybody that knows me knows that I am, but
Not
uh,
kidding.
it's amazing. It's, if they advocate for you, if a teacher or an instructor advocates for you and spends time trying to communicate with you, I don't think it can get any better than that.
No, you're absolutely right. I agree. And, I can relate exactly to. I had a supervisor on one of my tours. I was fortunate enough to be stationed in Sicily at a broadcast detachment, and I was the station manager. And I had a senior chief who was, my boss. He was the guy overall at the station. Anyway, I had just when I went to A school and I learned how, and that's how to learn how to be a journalist. We were shooting video on VHS tape. We were taking photos with actual film and developing film. By the time I get to this duty station in Sicily, everything is digital. So I'm lost because I've never worked with that stuff. I never shot with a digital camera. I never shot with a video camera where it's on a hard drive. And you take that hard drive and you put it into the computer and you upload it. So I was at a real loss, but because I was the senior guy, I was put in charge of the station. So now I've got a bunch of sailors, about 35 of them, working for me doing stuff that I don't know how they do it at all. I really don't.
And
And
you're
I went to my boss and I said, "Senior chief, I know, I know how to do my job as a leader, but I don't know how to do the job of those I'm leading. And he said, yeah, that's a problem. And he took me, he said, grab a camera, we're going to the commissary on base, and we shot for probably 3 hours of videotape. And then he went back to the station and produced like 3 or 4 different videos and did the audio and did the whole editing and producing and all that from soup to nuts. I mean, this guy took his time to, go all the way back to when, he was a second class, which was probably 20 years prior, and walk me through it all and say, look, you're never going to learn unless you actually do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was the best. And I wasn't one of my favorite leaders at the time, but like you say, as you mature, you realize that's what he was doing. Got it. And I've taken that leadership example with me, and I use it on a regular basis now for the last probably 15 years.
Well, I'll ask a teacher, and most of the teachers I've interviewed, their students actually love them in the capacity that a student can love a teacher. And that's a sign of a great educator. And I'll bet they won't admit this to you, Russ, but I'll bet the vast majority of the sailors that you've had a chance to touch or advocate for and educate love you in the way that they can. I mean, in the appropriate way. I mean, they appreciate what you've done for them. And if they don't do it today, damn it, they'll do it 10 years from today.
Well, I would certainly hope so. I mean, I think of that every once in a while, but it's really kind of an afterthought. My initial concern is that I want them to leave my charge better and better equipped with more tools and more skills and a better proficiency in what they do than when I came. And these kids today, I tell you, these kids, I shouldn't say that. These are young adults, sailors, and now I'm at a duty station where I have sailors, Marines, soldiers, and airmen under my charge. But I tell you, I would not want to be coming up and having to compete with the ranks that we have today. They would, and I thought I was hot stuff, but these guys would blow me away today.
Well, Russ, if you were growing up today, you would still be hot stuff. You don't know any different. I mean, you have the work ethic, you have ethics to begin with. So you're going to sail and you will rise to the top. I have no doubt.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
it's where did I lose myself in what you were saying? It's just that you talk about the digital world and the advocacy of that commander, and that's what you bring to all your people. You do advocate for them,
Absolutely.
and it's
Well,
important.
I didn't get here by myself. Actually, it wasn't a whole lot that I did that got me to be, a senior chief in the United States Navy. I mean, when I finally pulled my head out from under me back when I was a junior first class, and the leading petty officer everywhere I went, when I finally realized that it's not me that gets me where I'm going, it's the people who work for me.
Right.
Things just fell in place after that. Next thing you know, I'm a chief. Now I'm a senior chief. I mean, and the jobs come, and I got a cushy job. I got to pick this job, which was nice. I got to pick my last one.
Wait a minute. You're in Maryland, Russ. Russ, Maryland.
Yeah, well, that's that's the kind of choices I had. This was the best of all evils. So yeah, I did pick it.
I remember back when you were on the Carl Vinson, you were doing videos and photographs, and you showed us an aspect of carrier life that we were never able to see. You were honoring chefs and cooks, and it was amazing. Now
Oh yeah,
that was all for the
driving and dives. I love that series.
and that was
It
all
just
for the TV station on the USS Carl Vinson, correct?
right,
And
exactly.
And see, us civilians don't realize, but that carrier is such a community unto itself. It has its own radio station, its own TV station,
Yeah,
and
it's
and you
entirely self-sustaining.
and were you what was your position with the TV station on the Carl Vinson?
I was well, the TV station and radio and all of that, all in public affairs, all comes under the media department on the ship. And I was the media department leading chief petty officer, so the senior enlisted guy in the media department. I had a division officer, typically a lieutenant JG or a lieutenant, and then I had a public affairs officer who was the department head, and that position was typically lieutenant commander or commander.
Well, and that's a big responsibility. I mean, you're interacting with the media, you're interacting with people on shore. I assume you're interacting with ports you're as much as you can, ports that you're headed to, and setting up assignments for your people when you get there. Correct? To a
Oh,
degree.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's interesting. Had I if I were if I didn't know what I know now, having been on the ship, I wouldn't have any idea how they coordinated it. But I look back now, and it's just such a system that is in place. It's foolproof and it
And,
doesn't fail.
and how many people? And the USS Carl Vinson is an aircraft carrier. How many people are on the Carl Vinson?
When we deploy with the air wing, there's right around 5,000 personnel on board,
Yeah. Yeah.
larger than some small cities.
Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you enjoyed that duty, correct?
Absolutely, I would do that again in a minute. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are days when you don't want to be anywhere near that thing, and there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine.
I mean, the days are long. I mean, it's funny when I first got on the ship, and my good dear friend now now is he's a master chief actually, and he's the one I'm working for here in Maryland. But when I got on the ship, I said, "Hey, so what do we do on the weekends when we're off?" He says, "You're on a ship, man. We're never off. It's 7 days a week."
Yeah.
I said, "What?" I couldn't believe it. He got a good chuckle. Of course, he shared that with the whole Chiefs mess, so they enjoyed that.
Well, some people may have recognized that one of the things that I've picked on Russ as long as I've known him is the fact that he's from New York. And then now that I've envisioned him in Sicily and knowing who Russ is, I hope when you were on shore in Sicily, you weren't telling the Sicilians that New York had the best pizza in the world.
Oh no, no, you gotta no, you gotta respect it. Hey, it's Sicily, first of all. One of
Exactly.
the big organizations that kind of started there. You don't want to upset those guys.
But the,
And it wasn't. I tell you, New York pizza. Yes, I will. I will amicably argue with anyone in the states, but in Sicily, no, their pizza, yeah, different but great.
yeah, exactly. Russ, and it's an honor to have you here. And, for people that, this is not a recruitment video, but you've traveled the entire world. I mean, so
Absolutely.
just name some of the places you've enjoyed spending time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm on this ship, which is tough to be on, and at the same time it's great. So it's kind of weird. But Abu Dhabi, I'm telling you, I am going there on vacation when I retire. Beautiful place, just gorgeous. There's a bunch of islands, and it's just very warm. Of course, water is crystal clear, beautiful. People are really nice.
Just like New York.
Um, a little bit different. Nice. Yeah.
Where else, Russ?
My goodness, Korea was awesome. Australia, the people in Australia are just a lot of fun, like you would think, and so hospitable. When I was in Australia, we pulled in for 5 days, and I rented a room from this couple, for the 5 days, and they were just so nice and concerned about what I was doing. They had little plans of activities for me and all that. But even the people out in town, and oh my gosh, where else? Dubai. Went there way too many times because once you get in that sea, you just kind of go in a square, and you stop there quite often to resupply and all. But it's still a nice place. I've been to Kuwait. I've been to Qatar. Um, Kuwait, different and very restricted in movement deployment there for 7 months. But because of what I do, I got to go around a lot and actually spent one Thanksgiving in Kuwait City at a
Wow.
friend's house. I had an actual Thanksgiving dinner. But I tell you, everywhere I've been, I mean, my goodness, Sicily is by far my favorite place, of course, because I kind of felt at home. Picked up the language. I was fluent in 6 months,
Well, that's
and
cool. Did you speak
well,
Italian growing up at all in your household or not?
not in my household. No, we did not. My grandparents did, but only amongst themselves. Not because when they came over, I had a hard time getting jobs. So my grandfathers were like, let's not. They didn't want the kids to speak Italian. They kind of wanted them to be able to get in, get jobs and stuff.
Right.
So,
Do well in school.
but I took it in grammar school and high school, and but that's been a while ago. But,
Well, Russ, I could talk to you all day, and I appreciate you taking some time with us to give us a glimpse into the Navy and your respect for the instructors that you had and how much you enjoy being an instructor and you appreciate the importance of being an instructor.
oh, absolutely! I tell you, the best part of being anytime that I'm put into the instructor position is I actually get excited about the presentation. I put everything into it because they deserve that, whoever I'm instructing. But also, I get excited to the same degree of what I'm going to learn during that course or that session. Because every time, if I open myself up to it, I learn something every time.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of coaching or teaching. You do learn, but you have to learn to actually impart that knowledge. And before I let you go, you told me
Yes.
that you're you can teach in Florida.
Yeah, believe it or not, that says a lot for Florida right there. But but yeah, you can go to college and go to school and stuff like that while you're in the Navy. I mean, I got my MBA at my first tour, thanks to the Navy. Appreciate that. But then I went on to get my Florida teacher's certification. I can teach high school math. I think 11th grade. Um, just because I'm gonna have to quit this job someday,
Someday, yeah.
and I figured, yeah, a teacher's job. My wife, has been a teacher forever for like 20 some years, and I love her schedule with the summers off and the Christmas holiday. So
Well,
I thought, that'd be a good one.
we were remiss. We should have interviewed Tina.
Ah,
But we love your perspective on this, Russ, and I hope someday if you do get to retire, and I imagine that they're probably going to let you be in the Navy as long as you care to, as they should.
no, well,
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate
All right, Russ. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for putting up with us.
it. Yeah,
This has been Justin Case and Russ Tafuri talking teachers appreciation. Thanks for joining us. Remember,
thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.
remember,
Sorry.
additional information and links are provided in this video's read more. Today's the day to subscribe to this channel, and please support teachers, sailors, and instructors everywhere.